This meeting is being recorded.
Hi, Chris. We can see you. Here's Noreen too. Great.
Hello.
Hi, listen, the matter that you are interested in isn't going to be on the agenda until 7:45. So you're quite welcome to sit in and listen if you want to, or you can go and come back at 7:45, up to you.
Okay, I guess we could go and come back. Okay, great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, see you later.
Bye.
So it looks like Noreen's iPad has not fully connected.
Right. Just keep saying connecting to audio.
She may have a weak signal or something.
She doesn't have Shutesbury net.
I know, right?
Not on the Cape,
Yeah.
no.
She's down on the Cape. I've been very impressed with the communications about the transition.
I was a little disappointed about one thing. I did the first thing, whatever it was, and then the second thing came and it said, click on this and go there. And when I got there, it said, you need something that comes in the mail,
Oh yeah.
right? And it's going to come by September 10th, right? And I was all ready to do it right then. That was disappointing.
Did it come?
Not yet.
I received
mine-
I did.
Mine arrived 2 days ago.
Huh. Well, there you have it.
I have just still. There's no video. It's more like photo. Can you? I guess it doesn't matter as long as I can hear you guys. But
Oh, look, there's Noreen.
What type of device are you on, Wim?
I'm on an ancient an Apple computer, a laptop. But
Well, we can see and hear you.
good, and you can
Fine.
see. But do you see me moving around?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
do.
In video.
Oh, interesting. All right. I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
Hi, Noreen. You're muted.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
How's the Cape?
It's a little rainy and damp today, but well needed, mostly needed. So it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, we really got the rain here for a day and a half or so. I guess you were here. I saw Sam yesterday.
Yeah. We just came down yesterday afternoon. So we're in P-Town for a change. It's kind of fun. Hadn't been here
Nice.
for years.
And I just left the Cape at 3:15
Oh, wow.
That's funny.
today.
Well, we should
Did you
probably.
have a?
Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to know if you had a nice time too.
Oh,
I bet you
very nice.
did.
It was just great. Yeah.
You always do.
Okay, shall we get started?
Yeah.
Okay, we are recording, are we? Okay. So everybody is here. Maybe I should name the whole board: myself, Catherine Hilton, Wim Levine, Noreen Pease, Arlene Reed, Garrett Simonson. That is the entire board. Obviously, a quorum. The first item of business is the minutes from last time. Everybody okay with those minutes?
Yes.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Arlene
Noreen,
Reed,
yes.
Yes. Arlene, yes.
Pat, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Wim, yes.
Right. So, Greg, Steve, and the condemnation. I think you probably have seen the notes that I sent you on that, where the things that are to be resolved now are getting power to the site for dust control. And who remembers what the other one was?
It was his hooking up a temporary pump on the wellhead
Right.
and then power. He wasn't sure if he had power.
Right, he doesn't have power from the power company yet. He can't figure out how to get them to pay attention to him. But he said he can get a large generator to run that. He has one, but somebody else is in possession of it, but they'll send it back. So progress is being made. Those are the things that are standing between him and demolition. Electricity for dust control and for running the pump so that there can be water. So do I hear a motion to not take any action on the condemnation order for another month?
What happens if we get into winter? I mean, can they do this in freezing weather with snow and?
I have no idea. But regardless of whether we do anything right now or not, I don't think that's going to change anything in that regard. It's not like he's waiting until winter on purpose.
Yeah.
Just for my knowledge, what would a condemnation notice from us actually do?
Well, we have a condemnation order in place, and it was, to be demolished or otherwise corrected within a certain amount of time, which passed ages ago. And so Charlie was urging us to take action to put the property in receivership.
Okay,
So that
receivership.
some other person would be doing it. And I think nobody on the board was in favor of doing that. I mean, we've lived with it for this long, another month or two, and it could happen before the snow flies.
Kat, is Mr. Steve reporting to you without prompting these days?
I prompt him just to make sure we get the report. So sometime in the week before the meeting, I send him a text and just remind him that we'll be looking for a report.
Okay, and when you do that, he gets the report to you
Yeah.
in a timely fashion.
He is quite responsive to that. It took me a few months to figure out the best way of contacting him, which is by text message. But once that happened, and a couple of times I spotted him in the driveway and just pulled in. Once that happened, he's been very responsive. He doesn't, he's got some serious medical issues, and his screen time is limited, and also his physical endurance is limited. So when I was sending him emails, he just wasn't seeing them.
And as I recall, since the last time, the hydrant is an example of progress.
Right. He had the temporary hydrant. You're right. That was the other thing.
Yeah.
So things are progressing, and apparently all the hazard testing is done. He didn't say that specifically, but he didn't say it was still hanging out there either.
Well, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we extend his exemption for another month.
I'll second this.
I'm sorry, do we call,
Gotcha.
is this an exemption or an
Well,
extension? That we
I
extend
lost-
the extension,
Yeah, let's call it an extension.
that we
Fine.
further his extension by one more month.
Yes,
Okay,
I amend my motion to call it an extension.
okay.
All right. Discussion? Shall we vote? All in favor?
Garrett, yes.
Or-
Okay, I heard Garrett, I heard Noreen, Arlene?
Arlene, yes.
Wim?
Yes.
You don't sound very happy about it.
Every time I drive by there, I wonder what,
Right.
is there
I
an
know.
end in sight?
Yeah.
Years ago, I sat down with Greg and Kathy at the, and it really was years ago, like before the pandemic started. I sat down with them at the athletic club and I said, so are you gonna knock that thing down or are you gonna let it fall down by itself? And little did I know that like 3 years later, it would still be standing.
Right.
Okay, well, all right, I'm voting yes also, Kat, and so that makes it unanimous. So we have extended the time, whatever we call it. Okay, we have an application for septic system repair at 133 Lakeview Road, which is the one that's right next to that gigantic mound that sometimes they put flamingos or Halloween pop-ups and stuff there. So it's the little blue house next to that. We have received all the materials, but Charlie and Claudia have not reviewed it yet. So what I would like to be able to do is to issue it once Charlie and Claudia are satisfied.
Mhm.
Is that good with you guys, should we vote on it? We have a motion that I will issue that permit when all requirements are satisfied.
All right, second.
Okay, all in favor? Kat, yes.
Arlene, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Wim, yes.
Noreen, yes.
Okay, I will do that. So I forgot to put this on the formal agenda, but I did send you that letter from Miriam. Talking about, I don't know if everybody saw, I was talking about the concern about the floor drain, which apparently wasn't removed or blocked off or whatever at 032. And did the Board of Health want to get involved in this? Apparently DEP has already ordered action on this. I personally do not see any reason why we would want to get involved.
Well, do we have any obligation to do so?
I don't think so. In a case like this, it seems to me that we are the local arm of DEP, and DEP is already doing that job. I think we would just be basically butting in. If we had a role, I think they would probably tell us that there was something we were supposed to do.
And the job they're doing, as I understand it, I'm just looking for clarification here, is that they are requiring the additional testing because of the garage that was there, the testing for metals, I believe it was.
I believe that's the case.
Thank you.
So they've ordered the town to take actions, and I don't see what more we would want to do.
I guess for me, where the property owner is the town and the complaint is against the property owner, and the complaint was submitted to DEP, that I'm more comfortable with DEP investigating than the board.
I agree. I don't see how we could possibly have anything to add to this process.
The only question I might have is, will we automatically be informed of what's happening? I assume DEP will be interacting with the select board.
They might be interacting with Concom, I'm not sure, probably both of those. And in her letter, Miriam referred to accidentally leaving the Board of Health off the distribution list. So I would think that in future, we're going to be included, and I'll make sure that we're kept up to date on that.
That would be good. That's the only thing that I would think would make sense, is that we're in the loop and know what's happening.
So I will answer Miriam's letter and say that we don't see the utility of our getting involved, but we would like to be kept informed of all developments. Okay,
Mhm.
Sounds good.
okay. All right. Other exciting experiences I've been having. I went with Becky and Miriam to the dam at Dudley Pond, and that is the pond way down Montague Road, right at the Leverett town line. Almost, almost down to the co-op. I don't know if you guys have driven down there. There was an old mill dam that was restored. And for a long time, there was a little, do you remember this? There was like a little shack inside the angle. That, as it turns out, was a little homemade hydroelectric setup that this guy, David Brown, had put in there. It's gone now. And the reason we went to visit it is that Mark Foster lives right across the street. And he noticed that there was a beaver dam in there, and he was concerned about what might happen if the beaver dam broke. So we went down to see it. The beaver dam is quite close to the dam that is still there in a kind of weird shape. Obviously, the water is not high right now, so even a breach of that dam would not do much harm. So Becky and I talked on the phone before we had the site visit. Becky and I talked on the phone with Tim Hunting, and Tim said that he was aware of the whole thing. And there's a fairly small stone culvert that goes under Montague Road with the runoff from that dam. And he said it was small, but it was in good shape, and he was keeping an eye on it. And the only concern that he would have is that if the beaver dam breached, the sticks and stuff could potentially block the culvert and cause the water to rise and wash the road out or start eroding it anyway. That does not seem imminent. The dam is a fairly low and small one. And there's a lot of, how can I say this, like buffering capacity. There's a lot of place for the water to go on the downstream side of that beaver dam. So we talked with Tim about having a beaver deceiver or some other kind of diverter that would channel the water underneath the beaver dam. The Board of Health could declare it an emergency and basically require him to do that. And then Concom would come in and put conditions on it. But I said it did not look like an emergency to me, and that he should go ahead and file whatever he has to file with Concom to get it done. And that will probably happen next year. What had happened is that Mark had reported this he'd gone right over everybody's head to like DEP or Office of Dam Safety or somebody. And then it got back to Miriam, and Miriam started getting all cranked up with the Concom and sent the thing to me. And I said, well, no, wait a minute, it's the Board of Health that has jurisdiction over beaver dams, right? You can't do anything without us. So I struck a blow for our authority there. So nothing much is going on with that now, but that's just for your information.
Kat, just a quick question. Does that mean I thought Tim had retired the 1st of July. Does that mean he's still working?
Tim did not retire. We've got him for at least another year.
Oh, good. Okay.
Walter, who retired.
I wasn't aware of that. Who did? Walter, right. I thought
Tibbetts,
Tim
yeah.
was too. So great.
I didn't know that there were plans for that, but Becky said one day that we have Tim for another year.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. he's
I
great.
have a question about Walter, if it's appropriate at this time.
Go ahead.
Well, not about Walter, but I heard through the rumor mill that we do in fact have a new fire chief.
We have somebody who is, I think, like acting fire chief.
Okay.
What's his name? Lenny Zerwanka.
Okay,
But
there,
I-
I just had a question at an event from the person who's the public relations person for the emergency management team, wondering if we should, we haven't had a meeting for a while, and this includes Garrett, he was wondering if
Oh.
we should have a meeting. So, and I think it makes sense to let the new chief or acting chief get, a few things, a little time under his belt before we do that, but
What's
that
the
was the
situation?
question.
What's the situation with the EMD? Is it Lenny Zerwanka, or is it Kristen, or is it somebody else? I don't even
I don't know. I
know.
had heard it might even continue to be Walter, so I don't really know.
I don't either, but it does seem like it would be good to have a meeting.
Exactly, and know who the EMD is.
Right.
So
That
maybe that
reminds-
could be,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, maybe that could be conveyed back to Becky that, we could clarify that would be helpful, I think. And she's on the team, so.
Let me make a note. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
So I asked for suggestions about the newsletter, and I'll have to do it tomorrow. Garrett suggested that we have something about the Public Health Excellence Grant, but that seems to me to be a little bit early. I'd rather talk about that when we actually, Garrett, you're muted. I don't know if you know that.
No, that's a good point. It might be
Once
too
we
early.
actually have services that are being offered to the townspeople, especially since things are a little, I don't know, have they gone back with the supplemental budget yet? That's not yet, right? Noreen?
Actually, the grant is moving forward. There's money in this year's budget to add a few other groups, and apparently we are one of those that will be added, so it's not impacting the grant moving forward right now. Of course, it will have to be reauthorized for upcoming years, so that's not an issue. And the second thing is, or do you want to have a separate discussion about the public health grant, or should I talk about it now, Kat?
Yeah, go ahead and tell us what you know.
I think we had just talked about, there's going to be a briefing session for new towns who are joining the Public Health Excellence Grant, because other towns and cities are already part of it. And that is going to be, I believe it's Wednesday, the 2nd of October. I'm doing this from memory, whatever the first Wednesday is in November, from 10 to 11:30 in the morning. And when I get that link, I can send it to members of the board if they would like to attend. It's just a briefing and an overview of what the grant encompasses and what the expectations for towns will be.
Can you
Which-
repeat the date,
which-
please?
Are you looking at calendar?
I
Is-
am not right this second, but I can.
Is the first Wednesday in November the 2nd or the 3rd?
November, first you said October.
I meant November.
Okay, the first Wednesday is the 2nd.
Okay, 2nd of November from 10 to 11:30 in the morning.
Okay, got it.
And we will have to get a link to participate in that meeting. So I will watch for that information and I will forward the link.
Is there anything that has to happen before that?
We're meeting, the executive committee for the group is meeting monthly on, I can't remember, I think it's the 2nd or 3rd Thursday of the month in the morning, first thing. and getting organized ourselves.
Okay, anything else we should know about that?
And we haven't had another meeting since I last reported. So no.
Let me think for a second. I didn't make notes on this, but I was thinking about some other things that we could put in the newsletter if I'm really quick. One, I think I ought to mention that the drought was horrible, and it is horrible. On the other hand, it's an ill wind, and we have had hardly a mosquito. So that part has been really good. I thought perhaps also we could talk about the vaccine. And Garrett, if you're speaking, you're muted.
Yeah, the timing of the vaccine and the newsletter, I think, is good for us.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly when this newsletter will come out. It takes weeks, but I mean, that's fine, right? The vaccine is available now and people know about it. I got mine today, actually.
Oh, good. Great.
So I think those are the useful things to put in, right? Other things are just never timely. So I'll write something up real brief and quick, and I'll just submit that.
How are we currently with respect to the supply of free test kits for distribution?
Becky has asked me to order more and also to order more masks. So there were a bunch of emails today alerting us to the fact that more stuff is available. And I'm just waiting for, there's a particular email from Health and Human Services, I think, that's going to have the link for that, and also a little survey. I haven't seen that yet.
Okay.
So as far as how many, I know that Becky said they're out of masks, and I don't know how many test kits are still available. They went really fast like the first day, and then they just didn't move and didn't move. Marianne took a box over to the library, and I think she managed to use up all of hers.
Okay.
And Grace started putting them out on the front table with a take one. So, and that seems to be moving them along a little bit.
Good.
So Becky asked for more, so I am assuming.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder, I've recently had an inquiry from someone who was out of tests at home and said we tend to go through a lot. And I did tell him about town clerk, but I wasn't sure what the current status was. So I'd like to, I don't know what the best way for me to stay up to date about the availability so that I don't refer people there and make them make a trip up to town clerk's office only to be disappointed. But
I saw one on the table when I was in there
Okay.
today. I don't
Okay.
know how many more there are.
Right.
I'll find that
Okay.
out tomorrow. If
Okay.
if you'll send me an email tomorrow or even tonight, just reminding me of that, I'll find out and let you know.
okay.
When we
I will order as many as we can order tomorrow.
when we get more, I'd be supportive of Arlene having a supply on hand for herself, because she, she gets the emails to that account. And if people are contacting her, for her to have a small supply that she might be able to hand out, I think it's also a good idea.
You'd be willing to do that, Arlene?
Sure.
As
Okay.
I put you on the spot, Arlene, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I think that would be fine. Yeah.
Good idea. Okay, let me get this in the minutes so I don't forget. Okay. Okay, how are we doing? 7:33. We're not even up to 7:45. So why don't we take a little break for the next 10 minutes unless somebody has something important to say? Is that all right?
Mhm.
We don't have to turn it off or anything. We can just, go about our business.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Hi, Samuel. If you've joined the meeting about the conversation about the cemetery, we're going to start that here in a moment.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Arlene.
Hello, Samuel. We are all taking a few minutes to tend to some other tasks until the 7:45 hour. So I was sorry, I was in the middle of emailing some COVID patients.
Kat, Samuel Gladstone has joined the meeting.
Hello.
So, when you're ready for us to resume, we can do so.
Anytime, let's just,
Yes, I'm ready
there's
to
there's
resume too.
Wim. Noreen hasn't come back yet.
I
and I wonder-
am here. I'm sorry, I am here.
Noreen that's not here.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all here except Noreen. Let's just wait for her for a minute. I got started on our notes for the newsletter. There was another thing I was just thinking about that I wanted to mention to you guys. Oh, well. Can't help it. So while we're waiting for Noreen to get here, I thought that those other people were going to come. Why don't we introduce ourselves? I'm the chair of the Board of Health, Catherine Hilton.
I am Arlene Reed. Samuel and I are familiar with one another, but I am a nurse and a retired nurse practitioner, and have been, yes, member of the Board of Health for a long time.
Go
I'm
ahead.
Wim Levine. I am newest member of the Board of Health.
Also is a nurse practitioner, is it, Wim, or just nurse?
Yep. Nurse practitioner.
Hi, Samuel. I'm Garrett Simonson. I'm a member of the Board of Health, and we're now also joined by Chris Elliott.
Hi.
Hi there, I'm Lisa.
Chris and Lisa are the abutters to the cemetery.
So they're on the east side?
Correct. Right. So I wish Noreen would come back so we could talk. Let me say who's here.
Want me to send Noreen a text to alert
Oh
her?
yeah, good idea.
Okay, will do.
So we have So Garrett, how can I share screen?
So if you bring your cursor down to the bottom of the screen, you should get a toolbar. And there
Oh,
should be
yes.
a highlighted green area that says share screen.
Oh, cool. Okay. Okay. And then, well, we'll see how it works.
And then I just think that for the Elliots, since we were doing introductions when they came in, we might go around and do introductions again.
Okay. Well, I've already met Chris and I've talked with Lisa on the phone. I'm Catherine. Nice to see you both.
Catherine, hi.
Hi, I'm Garrett Simonson. I'm a member of the board.
Hi, Garrett.
Arlene
Wim
Reed, a member
Levine,
of the board.
member of the board.
Arlene,
Wim.
Wim.
Hi, Noreen Pease, member of the board.
Okay, board members.
I'm Sam Gladstone. I'm the co-chair of the cemetery committee at the JCA. I'm an ex-family physician.
Nice to meet you.
And you?
I'm going
Uh,
to try. Oh, go ahead. Somebody talking?
Yeah. It's Noreen. I'm having
Noreen.
trouble hearing you, Sam.
Did anybody else have trouble hearing me?
I
It
got
was faint.
No.
You're good now.
It was,
Okay, I'll talk up. Thank
See.
you. Noreen.
Okay. Can you guys see the screen that I just put up with the map?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So this here, and you can see my cursor moving around.
yes.
Okay. So this here, number 77, that's the elementary school.
hmm
Okay. Number 115 here is the cemetery. At number 43, these are map and parcel numbers. They're not street numbers. Number 43 is the yellow house with the aqua door. And right here is where Diane Jacoby has her farm stand. Right? And her house and farm are over here. So this is the parcel that we are talking about. It is, as you see, it's almost a perfect parallelogram. It's 300 feet on a side, except it's got a little bit more right there. It's about 2.2 acres. And now I want to share something else.
Can you tell me who 102 and 101 are?
That is, that's Chris and Lisa.
And what about 101?
It's all a single, it's two parcels in one. They're both,
Okay.
that's where their house is. So the house is up fairly far up a narrow driveway. You can't really see it from the street, and it's heavily wooded. And I want to show you. And okay, now can you see Google Maps?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so so here's the school, and here is Diane's store, and the cemetery parcel is here. I think, Chris and Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, this is where your place is, or it's not here. These are over on West Pelham Road.
Yeah, that's right. The shaded part. Yeah.
Like here, yeah.
Yes.
Right, yeah. We don't get a good look, but you can see the lay of the land there. And I also have the plot plan for the burials that has been put up on the JCA website that I captured here. And Sam, if you could kind of talk us through everything about this, that would be really helpful. Like, well, just the whole deal. What are you doing here? What's been done? I think we'd like to know how this plot plan matches up with the property lines and so on. What can you tell us?
Are you showing me a plot plan? The last thing I'm looking at is Google Maps.
Oh, well,
That's what I see as well.
Yes, likewise.
well, that's interesting. Let's try this.
Kat, if the plot plan is not in
There it is.
There you go.
Right. This is a new experience for me. Okay, there it is now.
Okay, so this is a picture of only a part of the cemetery. Okay, this is a picture of the original Forest Green Cemetery. So I had no idea what you wanted to know from me today. So I am, if there are things I can't tell you, I surely can look into it. The JCA bought this many years ago, and they put in the original cemetery on this map. Well, I'm going to end up jumping around trying to figure out how to tell you about all this based from this picture. So you should know that there's nothing that we've done that is not within our property line. So make that very clear. So
Okay,
the existing cemetery, where you see the upper left corner, it says existing cemetery.
Mhm.
That has been there. That's what was originally set out. It's been used. Almost all the plots have been sold. There are no adjoining plots that are left together. And so there was we educated ourselves. This is many years ago at this point. I don't know if there's a date on this. It's not very blown up for me. What is there a date?
September 2018 is the
Yeah.
date on this plan.
Exactly. So 4 years ago is when we did this plan and you can see that on the right side of this forest green cemetery, it's sort of, I guess, dashed. There's a place to the right of it that says future walking path. Below that, there's a part that says future upper forest cemetery. So originally, what you see is what we planned. And people have been so interested in that, and we've sold so many plots that we have to the right now. There's no picture of it here because we're just developing it, and it's going towards the adjoining property. Obviously, we've so far what we've done there is cut down all the small trees but left all the pines, which is what we originally did in the part that you're seeing. The other thing that we've done, you can see where it says the arrows to driveway, that's facing towards Levitt Road. And that is a lawn area. There's a big horseshoe driveway. And we also have developed that as plots.
So that area inside the round driveway is intended to be plots also.
Yes.
And are those meant to be green burial or?
All green. We're not doing anything but green burial now.
All right, well, we have some concerns. There are three major concerns, and I don't, like you, I kind of don't know where to start. One of them is we are concerned about proximity to the well of Chris and Lisa, which is up behind where their house is.
Could you go back to the picture that shows that, so I have a, because I have
I
no idea where that is.
try.
And I just, is it okay if I ask a question at this point?
Is that you, Lisa?
Yes, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, Sam, I just want to know, I don't know if you know this at this point, or you'll have to take this back and ask and then get back to us at some point. But I do want to know like what due diligence was done in terms of the hydrogeological testing. And I don't know if you're aware, there is a body 100 feet away from our well, and the recommendations by DEP at this point are 750 feet. If it's 50 plots and 50 bodies, and then one grave is supposed to be 300 feet. So I just checking in just to see what, if you guys have records of that, you know, testing done and all that.
So
Let's wait for a minute on
Okay.
that, Lisa.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to
Yeah,
get to it. We're
Okay.
going to get.
Yeah.
Okay, so our first thing does have to do with that well, which is up here. I visited.
I'm sorry, can you show me again where the well is with your?
I can't show you
Okay,
exactly, but it's
somewhere there. Okay.
somewhere up here. Yeah, and now I measured from the well to the closest point of the fence, and that was about 70 feet. I'm not convinced that that one burial is within 100 feet, but it's making me, it's making me nervous.
So
Then go ahead.
So the fence that you measured to, okay, is the fence between the two properties?
It is, but we're not sure that it's actually on the property line. But that's what I had to measure.
Okay, I got you. That's fine.
Okay.
So someone's gonna, if someone wants to know if that's the property line, someone's gonna have to
Survey it.
take care of determining that.
Right.
Once again, maybe you want to go back again to the picture of the cemetery. You know, the other thing that, and I would be willing to do this at any point, is to go out there with everybody. But so I want to once again make it clear that, you know, the line that you're seeing at the end on the right side of this plot is not the fence that you're talking about. That fence is probably more like where it's even further to the right than the white and gray area. Just so nobody's been buried in that area. We're planning on developing it. So if you tell me that you don't want any burials at within 100 feet, it's not nobody's been buried there. I wouldn't want to do anything to contaminate their well, and I can assure you that we will, you know, we haven't developed this area yet. And this is great that you're talking now, so we're cognizant of this issue.
Right. Usually, I think well, I mean, this is a new thing, so that there aren't established protocols, but we were surprised to find out that you had proposed this and moved forward with it without consulting us, because it's our understanding that the Board of Health does have jurisdiction on these things. And so when our own town cemetery wanted to open up a green burial section, they came to us and we worked out a protocol for how they had to proceed. They had to do a perk test. They had to have certain setbacks and so on. Oh, it looks like Noreen must have got knocked out. I got her.
I was if this happened in 2018, I was on the committee, but I wasn't a co-chair. I know I saw some emails of yours that you sent stuff to Devorah Jacobson and Linda Sinapi. They were the co-chairs at that point. But as I recall, Catherine, have you been on the Board of Health since 2018 or before?
I've been on the Board of Health since 1992.
Okay, so I know that Jackie Katz, who's on the cemetery committee, was also on the Board of Health at some point.
A while ago, yeah.
So I don't know, I can't say, I believe you if you say you weren't contacted.
Yeah.
If that, but I thought that there had been contact. I thought I had been told that everything was fine. Anyway, so,
Well, no, I'm not trying to point the finger. I'm just telling you that we were kind of caught short here because we were surprised. We had no idea that this was happening. So let me just run down the list of problems, or potential problems, things we're concerned about. One, our feeling, I mean, we're not going, DPH is talking, or DEP rather, is apparently talking about a 300-foot setback from a well. We would actually have been satisfied with 100 feet, and that's what we established, I believe, when we developed some home burial guidelines. But these are things, that still, it's all new, that have to be worked out. A bigger problem could be the elementary school, because the elementary school's well is considered a public water supply, and there's a 200-foot buffer zone around the well. Unfortunately, I have as yet been unable to find where the well is. I've asked for the location, and I just haven't been able to get it for various reasons. I went over there, and let me see if I can show you. And there's two open fields that seem likely. There's this one at the front, stop that. And then there's this one back here with the track. So I walked those looking for some sign of a wellhead, but I didn't see anything. So we need to make sure that it's 200 feet away from any burials
well,
that
so,
are done there.
I'm sorry, Catherine. So again, I can't, the burials that I think would be closest to what you're pointing out have been buried, that's the old cemetery.
Right, conventional burials. We're not worried about that. I just want to make
So
sure
why
that,
are you more worried about forest green burials than conventional burials?
it's not so much that we're worried about them. I mean, we're in favor of them as a general thing. It's just that there are some rules from the Department of Environmental Protection that have to be enforced.
Only for green burials and not conventional? Is that what you're saying?
I believe that is the case. And I don't think, for example, Garrett, do you have something to add?
That's my understanding. I mean, the DEP has a specific webpage dedicated just to green burial regulation.
Can you send out a link to that page to everybody, Garrett, or at least to me, and I'll send it to everybody?
I'll have to send it to you, Kat, because the chat function is not allowed in the public meetings. So
Okay.
Yep.
And then you'll send it to me?
I certainly will.
Okay, great.
And so there's that may or may not be a problem. And
Can I
then
just go back to Garrett just so I can?
Go ahead.
Garrett,
yes,
are you saying that the DP has different and stronger setbacks for green burial than it does for conventional burial?
Yes, they have standards that are recommended, and that they encourage local communities, in particular local boards of health, to work with cemeteries to establish guidelines and recommendations for home burials and green burials.
So I don't know what you guys know about green. I would think it'd be much more toxic to have a conventional burial than a green burial. A green,
But it's contained.
it's contained with toxicity.
Right, but as long as it stays in there. In any case, it's not really so much about us, and it's not even a case whether it's dangerous. It's not. It's a case. What it's about is the rules that DEP has established and that we have to follow.
I gotcha. Okay.
Right. I mean, that's what this is about.
Yeah, I've never heard. When did these DEP rules come out?
Garrett, do you know?
Let me see if they specifically say the dates. So I'll chime back in.
Thank you.
Okay.
Should I did speak with someone at DEP also. Do you want me to chime in now or wait?
And what did that person tell you, Lisa?
One thing that he did, he got really, really concerned when I told him the proximity of the green burials that had started to happen. And when he saw the elementary school, he saw 2 wells on the maps, on the government maps, I think the GIS, and he put a pin in the middle, directly in the middle of the cemetery, the whole entire cemetery. He said that 3 houses around, and he mentioned 750 feet, which is a number also that gets thrown around. And I'm not, again, I'm not an expert on this, but he put a pin right in the middle on the map. And it also included the wells at the Shutesbury Elementary School, which being public wells would be a big issue. So he was pretty concerned. So that's why I was just wondering if like the hydrogeological process had been done beforehand and all of that. That's all.
So I'm more confused. It's getting more and more confusing. So I thought it was 300 feet, they said, and now you're saying they say 750 feet.
What that's about is that if the density of burials is 50 or more per acre, then that's the
And it defaults to 750.
right.
I'm sorry,
Right.
what was that?
Go ahead, Wim.
If the density of burials is more than 50 plots per acre, then the DEP says the setback defaults to 750 feet. Otherwise, if it's
Go ahead.
fewer than that, then it's 300.
And again, is this is just for green burial, Wim?
I'm just trying to clarify what Lisa was saying. I've never seen any of these regulations, so
I just sent them around to everybody.
And Catherine, if you can stop sharing, I could share the screen that shows the DEP setback.
Okay. Okay, so this is a recommendation. Well, I don't know. It says setback requirements, but then it says it recommends.
The research and standards recommends, and then
Oh, I
these
see.
are the DEP requirements.
Okay, so they've adopted that apparently. The board, it says the Board of Health could allow for a variance from these setbacks if a detailed hydrogeological study is conducted. Hmm.
Is this something that you can send me? I am a technological idiot, and
I've
so,
already sent it to you, Sam. It's
oh,
it's a
wonderful.
link in an email.
Okay, so then it'll be there. That'll
Yeah.
be helpful.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
can you see on this piece of can you look at this other parts of it and say when this was written?
This might say when it was last updated. We would have to do some additional digging, I think, to see when this link I clicked on earlier to try to see if it said provided a date, but I did not find it
Okay,
immediately. I'd need to do some more digging.
okay. Thanks for, trying to help me understand this.
Sure.
So, I have been having a very hard time getting anybody to talk to me about this. I've, been looking for answers, partly to the question of exactly what our rights and responsibilities as a board are. But I kind of thought that instead of our coming in here with an order, and telling you to do something, that we could get JCA in the conversation as soon as possible, and we could try to figure out what's the right thing to do.
I'm very appreciative of you doing that because we're good citizens. We don't want to do anything that we're not supposed to be doing.
Right. I totally appreciate that. And
So this is all when I'm no expert in green burials, that's for sure. We dealt with people who were experts. Nobody ever said anything, and this started way before 2018 for us to start to to get what you saw on 2018. It was years before that, that and we didn't, we had people from the Conway School of Landscape Design part of this. And then we had, I'm so bad with names, we had a woman who is an expert in green burial. Anyway, so this is all, I think it's so interesting. I think that all this is since we did what we did, I get because it's becoming so popular, and the DEP has now sort of gotten involved. So I don't know what else to say. Uh,
Well,
what I
thank
think
you, Sam.
might be good is if you would get a survey of the eastern property line. I think that would help us a lot. I went over there and it's just, have you been out in there recently? I mean, it's just a huge wilderness. You can't really tell
I
where
don't know
anything is.
well, I don't know what you're considering the fences. There's a fence. That's what we assumed. It looks like that's on the property line. Why else would there be a fence? And it's not a wilderness. Have you been there since we cleaned it up? Cleaned out all the.
I was there on, what was it, Friday afternoon, Chris?
Were you there from the JCA side or from the other property?
From the other side. I've been on the JCA side and
Go
I've
from the
visited that
JCA
recently
side, and
also.
you can walk right up to it. It's not a jungle at all from that side.
Yeah, as you start getting up the hill, it's presumably Chris and Lisa's property, but it's fairly unclear. It was unclear to me exactly where the property line was.
Well, there's surely no plan of moving that fence and going closer to their property. That's for sure. And as I said, nothing except the clearing of those small trees has been done there. And if you go back, would you go back to the cemetery, the green forest cemetery map? And while you're doing that, let me just explain how this is. People have not been sold particular plots.
Mhm.
We've been doing this sequentially based on, is it a single person? You know, is it someone who wants to be buried next to their spouse? My sister actually, my parents are in the the old one. My sister just died December 31st, and it turned out that, you know, my wife, my brother-in-law, my brother, my sister-in-law, all have plots, and so, you know, she's actually number 33, I think, or 34. But that she is the closest one to that line. You see all these 24, 25, 6, 7, 8. Nobody is there. Nobody's in 16 or 17. So those that have been buried are really way over to the left. You know, just so you know,
Right.
that's what.
I saw that when I visited, and that this whole area over here was quite undeveloped and not
Exactly.
ready for burials. So how many burials have taken place so far?
I can't tell you for sure. I
It
think,
looked to me like 5 or 6.
yeah, I was going to say 7, Kat, but yeah, not a lot.
Are those plots though along the eastern boundary? Are they sold already?
Well,
Again,
that's
when-
not the boundary, the property boundary, though.
Yeah,
Right.
that's very important. You know, why don't you show where the property boundary is, Kat? It's like in the gray, I think. It's not even on the white.
Really?
It's way over there.
You think it's way over here?
Oh yeah,
All right.
even further. It may be.
Really?
Oh yeah.
It would be, it would be really helpful if you could get us and yourself a plan of the entire cemetery with the property lines and showing the proposed, the existing
Oh,
section, the proposed section, and so on.
We have that. You just, okay.
Okay, can you send us that?
I don't know that I can. So I'll try to find someone who's more capable than I am.
Okay, if somebody could scan it and send it to us, that would be very useful.
And then I just wanted to say, Sam, if the concern is not the property line, that's great if you get a survey done and all of that. But the bottom line is the last body that was buried is 100 feet from our well. And there are still studies being done, and they are trying to figure out how long pathogens can last, and whether they can get into private wells or public wells. And so that's why the hydrogeological study is super important to be done. And I know, and thank you so much for taking all this into consideration, because I know you would be concerned if it were 100 feet from your well or your daughter's well or granddaughter's well. So that's, that's,
I'm concerned
that's what we're concerned about.
that it's too close to your well, Lisa. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So let me understand though. You're saying that there a burial has occurred that is 100 feet from the well?
Yeah, it could be a tiny bit over, but it's really close. And
Very
if
close.
the plans that
Do you
are
know
up,
which? Can you do you see?
it's
on
the one burial that's the body shape. That's a mound. That's right as you drive in the driveway. If you come in the left side of the driveway, when you come up to the green area, right on the left, it's right there. It's the only one you can
Like
see.
23 or
It's green.
21, right?
Yeah, probably.
23 or 21 on your map.
And I just want to, just to enlighten you, Sam, just like when we first started figuring this out, I'm a school teacher. So I had noticed February vacation that the trees were being raised, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. A section of our plot around our paddock and our backyard was actually taken down. I didn't see it happen. I saw it the next day. And 3 planks on one section of our fence had been taken down, and I wasn't sure why that was. So that was a little concerning, seeing as that was our fence. And then we started wondering what's going on, and I had to do a lot of research online and figuring out that there was a plan for all these green burial plots. And again, then the body went in, it was around springtime, I think, April or something. And so that body went in, and then I realized how close it was. And it's a little bit over, maybe 100 feet, but it might be 100 feet, because I had to kind of go back and forth between trees when I measured that line. So it's really the concern about the bodies near the private well. And that's why there are setback restrictions in all states. It's still, of course, as you know, it's pretty new, the whole green burial. So, you know, people are figuring out what can be unhealthy and unsafe for people and what wouldn't be. So I appreciate that you guys are going to think about this before you bury any more bodies that close to wells. Okay.
So it would be helpful to me to come and see where this well is.
Okay, well, definitely get somebody to be doing the surveying, and they should
No, but
definitely.
I would like to know where this well is that you're saying is 100 feet from.
I think you can see it actually from your fence. If you go next to that body that's been buried, you can look over and it's blue. We have a little tent back here. You'll see in front of it, there's something blue sticking up. That's the well. And I promise you we're not fibbing about that. It is the well.
It's close to the property line. And again,
Yeah.
I think it'll be important to figure out exactly where the property line is. But I think the property line is actually quite close to our house on that side, and the well. There's not a lot of elbow room there. Looking at this map here, I guarantee our property line is not over in the gray on here. It's actually quite close to that dotted line. I would guess.
And you don't, yeah. Does that make sense?
So Kat, from the Board of Health's point of view, what do you think would be most useful going forward to try and clarify some of these, some of the issues? It sounds like a survey of the property line to clearly establish the distance, because as far as we know, so far the DEP recommendations or regulations, there's no mention of 100 feet. It looked like the closest was 300.
Right.
So,
And that would completely put them out of business because they've only
Yeah,
got
makes
300 feet and the entire width of the thing.
But then there is mention about the variance that can be issued if a hydrogeologic study is done
yes.
That's the intention, yeah.
and if the study demonstrates that there is no threat to the water supply. But that's a big variance from 300 down to 100.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, well, as you recall, Arlene, when we were developing our home burial guidelines, we decided that we would treat a burial the same way we treated a septic system, right? So that we would require 100-foot setbacks.
Okay.
Right.
Mhm.
I think that we would have to consult with DEP and see if they would
Right.
accept that as a variance. So
Mhm.
they've got the power. We know more than we do.
Mhm.
I don't know where, and what we used by way of hydrogeologic survey was a perk test. I don't know if there is anything more elaborate than that that could be done.
I think my understanding was just the slope of the land and like if it's downhill or uphill or what, I think that's.
Well, yeah, that's fine, but a thing can be uphill, but still, I mean, if you have a deep enough well, it could still be down gradient. I mean, we don't
Right.
know
Right,
the
right.
shape of the fractures under the surface.
Yeah.
So the question about what would be most useful for the Board of Health going forward, we need to establish. Well, what we need is we need the map that JCA has showing the entire property and the proposed section and the existing sections on it. We want the whole thing. And we need somebody, preferably somebody, with a theodolite that can then locate Chris and Lisa's well on that map.
And,
Right, to
and
scale.
even all abutters wells,
Right.
including the
school.
elementary school. Yeah.
Right, and that'll be my task to try to find the damn
With
well.
with the distances.
Just a quick
Right.
FYI, we lost
the property
Samuel
line.
and I've let him back in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I apologize. It's an old laptop and the battery is like non-existent, and somehow in all this, the plug got unplugged. And so the last thing, Chris, you were talking, and that's I'm sorry, that's when I got cut off. I don't know what happened since.
Gosh, well,
Well,
one thing that was important that we were just saying is that what we really need is the map of the entire property that you mentioned, showing the location of your proposed green sections and showing everything. And then having having it big enough that all the abutting wells can be shown. Chris and Lisa's well, the school well that we'll have to find, the well at the house, the yellow house with the aqua door, and possibly, basically any well. The way we usually do it on other kinds of plot plans is any well within 200 feet should be shown or indicated in some way.
But in this case, because the setback appears to be 300 feet.
Okay, let's make it 300.
We might want to see
we might
the
want
location on the map of all wells within 300 feet.
including across the street. There's a couple houses across the street.
I don't see how I'm gonna, I will hopefully be able to get you the plot plan of our property. I don't have any idea where the other wells are. I
Sure.
think I'm gonna, I'm not committing to doing that. That doesn't make sense for me to have to do that.
I don't think that we would expect you to do it, but I
Okay.
think we would expect JCA to have it done.
Well,
And that would mean getting a surveyor that could map it.
well, yeah, I don't. So, again, I can't say that that's going to happen, that we're going to get a surveyor. I'm not saying we're not, but I'm not the JCA. I'm not in charge. I'm just the co-chair of a cemetery committee. I wanted to ask the Elliots when they moved into this house.
2 years ago.
August 2020.
Okay.
Kat, I have a question about whether someone like Cold Spring Environmental, for instance, who, when they do a site plan for a disposal works construction permit, they locate abutters wells on their maps. would
That's
they,
a good
would
thought.
they
because
be a resource for something like developing such a map such as we're speaking about? I don't know whether they have surveyors among them, among their staff, but since
basically the
they,
staff is Alan Weiss, but he's awfully competent at that. And he
right,
certainly does make that kind of plan for septic systems and for
right.
other kinds of engineering problems.
right, and since he regularly locates abutters wells, if he couldn't do this for JCA, that he could certainly get some recommendations about how they might proceed, right?
So
I
I
think
have
that's
to
a good
say,
idea.
I don't get, you know, I think that this is the Board of Health of Shutesbury needs to figure out about these wells. It's my job to get you the plot of the JCA cemetery, but I don't see that it's my responsibility to tell you where the wells are.
Right, I agree with you.
You know,
I think I agree with you,
so,
but
so there's not, you know, everything, there's not a lot of money to be spending on, and so that's one concern. And the other concern, just to make it clear, this is about the worst time that this could be happening. The Jewish high holidays are upon us in the next month. And so this is going to be the hardest time
right,
to get stuff done, just
right,
so you have a sense about
sure,
that.
understand.
And just as long as Sam's
Um,
not planning on having any other burials in that time frame,
So,
right?
so I don't plan on any burials. People get buried when they die. That's what happens in Judaism, you know. So
Okay, but
I'm
we're
gonna
just concerned about our health and safety, that's all.
No,
So
no,
I,
no, I get it. I'm gonna make it,
Awesome.
the
Thank you.
person, I'm going to try, now that I have it, that's why you seem resistant to me coming and you showing me. You want, hopefully I can go out there and see where this well is, because I've never seen it. I never knew there was a well there.
oh, did you think do we, I don't know if we have public water in Shutesbury, do we?
No, we don't. Everyone
I
has a
don't
well.
live in
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
Shutesbury.
it's all,
I
yeah, I
have
think
no
it's all
idea
wells.
about Shutes. I don't know about Shutesbury.
Gotcha, yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
I
wells.
have public water where I live in Amherst, so I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But
so,
Yeah.
even
but what I'm,
regardless of the question about whose responsibility it is to locate these wells, I would pose that JCA needs to be, and the Cemetery Commission in particular, needs to be aware of where abutters wells are as you develop a plan for your cemetery. And you need to be aware of what the DEP setback requirements are.
again, I was not aware, you know, so far we don't know when. My guess would be that all these plans were made before the DEP said anything, and surely they were made before the Elliots moved into the house. And but what I'm gonna, you know, what I'm gonna suggest from what you've told me, we want to keep away from this sort of right lower corner of plots. That's what we want to stay away from. We want to sort of move, you know, if people die and have to be buried, we want to move them like at number 54 or whatever. You know, the farther away the better. So that's going to be my immediate suggestion to the person who sort of allots the plots, and I'm going to try to get you this survey from her right, you know, tomorrow. I will, and the trick is you know, calling a meeting of the committee during this period of time. But I will surely do what I just said.
Right, well, it's not super urgent. I mean, if you have to work around the high holidays, that's fine. But here's the thing. You are basically embarking on a new use of this property, which is under the jurisdiction of the Board of Health and ultimately the DEP. And if you cannot comply substantially with those regulations from the DEP, you can be shut down. It is in your interest to, very much so, to bring this plot into compliance.
But again, Kat, so it's, again, we haven't, the one that's closer to the Elliots, that whole area, we haven't developed that at all. Nobody's buried there. There's no plots to be buried there. So what you're looking at is from 2018.
That's right there.
And that's been planned from then and earlier, before the DEP's put out, I bet, anything, and before the Elliots.
Look, it might be possible that actual burials could be grandfathered, but proposed burials within the perimeter of a well are not going to be grandfathered. They are not permitted.
Yeah, I understand. That's why.
So all of this is going to have to be changed.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I would have to go out. I can't believe that we're 200. That the part of the forest that's our property that hasn't been developed, but small trees have cut down. I can't believe that that's 100 feet. But if someone measured it, then I guess it is.
If you want, I can go out and look at the name I could just go out there now. The meeting might still be going on. I can go tell you the name on the mound that's right next
Yeah,
door.
it's really close. I mean, Captain, you
It
came
will
out.
take,
We're
take me 2 minutes if you would like me to.
right here.
Sure, that would be great.
You want me to? Awesome. Okay.
It seems like from this map, where that dotted line is, the 24, 26, 27, 28, 29. If that's at our property line,
No,
Then,
you're
okay,
not
but-
understanding. Chris,
yeah,
you're
but
not
even-
understanding.
but there's
That's
no way
the
that's
property
even,
line.
that's 100 feet. It's 300 feet from this room right here to the old existing cemetery. Virtually, I think everything within the green burial site is 300 feet from our well. Everything.
But when this was made, Chris,
Yes.
there was nobody said anything. There was no DEP saying you had to be 300 feet away.
But that's not
saying
entirely
it now.
relevant anymore.
Right, they're saying
We
it
didn't
now.
know about this when we moved in either. We knew it's taken us months to figure out even the basics. Like you're catching up right now, and we've been catching up as well,
But-
trying to understand.
Right.
Chris, I just want to make sure. So there are no, as far as I know, there are nobody's buried along that line, and that line is not where the current fence is.
Right.
That line is where there was a fence there, Chris, and that
Mhm.
fence was removed.
No, it's not. You may need to see the property because that's not the case. There's no fence removed.
We removed it, Chris. I know what was done. That dotted line was a fence that is no longer there.
Okay, maybe that happened. Maybe that happened before we moved in. Then there is a
No.
fence that we still have, part of which was damaged when those trees were cut down.
That fence is way to the right, Chris.
Okay.
There was a fence
Okay.
there. You probably couldn't see it because it was so dense from your side and our side.
Something in
And
there.
at the same time, that fence was taken down when they took down the smaller.
Okay, so where that wooded area. Now, half of that area is still densely wooded, right? Down to
No.
the road. Yes,
Oh, that,
Yeah.
in that direction, yes.
Yeah. Down to the road. So let me clarify. Does this plot right here, does that go down to the road?
No, not at all. You
So
see,
number 31 does not go down to Leverett Road. Like if I look at 32, 31, 50,
No.
49.
No, you
Not at
can
all.
see
That-
that the driveway is on the other side.
That's where they're, and so then 28 and 29. Or just, what's up?
You can finish.
Okay.
This is why we need a broader
Yeah.
plot plan.
Right, yeah,
for the
this
entire
this
cemetery.
map is not doing it.
and.
Yeah,
and-
this
and-
map is, we're just trying to get,
Yeah, and I can let you, it's Rana Rappaport.
yeah,
Interesting,
so-
I knew Rappaports in Long Meadow growing up.
No,
And
so
sorry, I
Rana
had to go
Rappaport-
around the road.
Yeah, so Rana Rappaport is my sister. and
Okay,
she is buried in right there, I
yeah, it's
think.
100, yeah, it's 100 feet from the well.
Could you-
I actually took the long way just now, sorry. Because
So
it's through the woods.
That is 100, so the well is, Catherine, do you understand where the well is with the pointer?
I don't know how far off it is. I believe that it's up in this direction, but I couldn't locate it on this map. That's why we need a map where we can get it onto it.
isn't her grave like 23 or 21?
No,
Thought it was 33.
Oh, so
Yeah.
we're up to 33. Okay.
Sam, yeah, I knew Rappaports too in Long Meadow where I grew up. So
Ah.
interesting.
Yeah.
they're
Small
not from- they're not from
Small
there.
world. Huh?
But,
Yeah,
okay, so that's the area we have to stay away from. Okay, well, that was great you did that, because,
Yeah,
someone could die
Figured,
tomorrow.
why not?
But I think it's gonna be helpful if maybe I'll even try to do this tomorrow. So you're saying if I'm gonna be able to see a blue tarp somewhere?
Oh, it's not even a tarp, it's just the top, the metal top. It's painted blue.
The
I'm
wellhead.
gonna see a
Yeah.
metal.
Yeah, if you go next to your sister's burial mound and just go over to that little fence next to it. If you look towards our tent, there's a tent in the backyard. You'll see in front of it, something blue, close to the
Okay.
ground. I think you can see it probably from there.
May I ask, Sam, if there were to be a death in your congregation in the near future, do you have another cemetery where, but
There's
so
no,
this is,
Arlene, this is the JCA cemetery.
this is it,
This
okay.
is it.
Okay.
And Samuel, just to go back to something that I believe that you said earlier, and correct me if I'm wrong, the plan for the existing plots and then what will become the future upper forest cemetery is for all spaces to be green burial.
Correct. But obviously it may not, this is.
May not
great.
fly.
Right.
That may not be what's happening going forward. We may have to completely change things around now.
Yeah.
So do you know the rules if you do conventional burial? Are the rules different? As far as the DEP is concerned?
That's a good question. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm guessing that you don't have the kind of drastic setbacks that are
Yeah.
required.
The setback. to that.
No setbacks at all, Garrett?
I don't know that it's no setbacks at all. I just don't think it's the recommended setbacks that are in the regulations.
And what does the DEP consider like conventional in the cement liner? Is that
Yes.
That would be my assumption.
okay?
I'd have to read into it more.
Okay. Interesting.
So Board of Health, how are we going to proceed? We need to get a proper map. And we need to at least identify where some things are, even if we don't get them on the map, like adjoining wells. And I guess we need to consult someone at DEP and find out
Absolutely.
what
Yeah.
kind of variances we are empowered to grant.
Kat, where does what is the source of the plot plan that's on the screen currently?
I got it from the JCA website.
And Samuel, is there a more recent plot plan that shows the future Upper Forest Cemetery?
It had no, because it hasn't been developed, Garrett. But there, I'm surprised, Kat. Although, again, I never look. You know, I'm so I don't look at technologically. I don't know even where this is. So I'm surprised wherever you found this that you didn't find the bigger picture of the whole cemetery layout, which is what you're wanting. But
Right.
but we, you know, surely that I can, you know, I can work on getting that to you. There is such a thing.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for that, but I didn't find it either. So. Let's
So, Kat, in order that that regulations, as far as we can defend or describe them, are not violated going forward, should someone die, what is the position of the board on burials until all of this is clarified?
I don't see how we could say other than that they should be at least 300 feet. The burial site should be at least 300 feet from every nearby well.
Unless it's a conventional burial.
Oh, unless it's a conventional burial.
in which case it can
Yeah.
be pretty much anywhere.
I was
Um,
just checking well setback requirements that say nothing about cemetery setbacks.
So, and did someone say that this was said earlier that if we use the Elliott's well, that 300 feet from that, the whole cemetery is within that? Is that what was someone
The
said?
cemetery is a parallelogram, 300 feet on a side.
Yep.
So
But
that leaves you very little room, and most of the room that could be, you know, farther than 300 feet would be over in the lawn cemetery already.
And so related to the 300 feet, so it's 300 feet setback for one grave or a family burial plot, but then it's 750 feet from a natural green burial area with a density of 50 burials per acre.
And that, I think, this plan is approaching, because the whole parcel is 2.2 acres. And
And Samuel, do you know if that 2.2 is inclusive of the future planned area? Or is
that is their entire property. 2.2 acres is
right.
their entire property.
there's so much that we can't speak to because this is not a full, you know, this does not show the entire property. And it does
Right.
not show the property lines and does not show nearby wells. And so there's an awful lot that's conjecture here about how far.
Because there could be other wells that would
Right.
impinge on.
Right,
Yeah.
including the elementary school. Yeah. that being a public water supply has even greater restrictions on it. Setbacks.
Well, it's got the 200-foot buffer, but if it's 300 foot from any well, that it
Sure,
makes it
okay,
even-
got it. You're
And
right.
I didn't even
Arlene,
know how to think of that.
Just to be
Sorry?
clear, so you know that line, that dotted line at the bottom near 16, 18, 20, 11, and 12, that's an actual boundary line, I think,
Okay.
between the school and the
Well,
JCA
it's the one on the
cemetery.
right.
Right, right. This
Here's
is
the-
the,
Well,
this
it's
is
the one on the
parking
right.
lot.
So that's what I was saying. The
Yeah.
one on the
The one
right
on the
would
right
be
is
our
also,
property.
a boundary line.
Right.
Yeah, that's where
No,
the
it
fence was
isn't.
taken down. That's where the
This-
fence was, that's where our section of fence was taken down. And I was wondering because it lined up with a section of fence that was taken up off of the fence in in the cemetery. And they lined up perfectly and I couldn't help but think like somebody was thinking of it as a throughway or assumed that that fence that surrounds our paddock belonged to the JCA. And I'm not sure if you guys had hired someone out, like hired out to have someone raise the trees and so they weren't aware and they started taking our fence down. That was a question I had when that happened, but that looks like our boundary.
But your boundary is the extension way to the right of that, again.
No, it's just like the one that you can see next to the school. It's the same dotted lines with the dots and the lines and the dots and the lines.
Well, I think we should not argue this point.
Right,
What
I
we,
agree.
what
I
we
agree.
need
gotta
is
get a
an
plot
actual
plan.
map
Yeah,
showing,
Right.
showing the actual situation. Let's
Yes.
not fight about it now. Let's
Yep,
get the
absolutely.
information that we need.
Yes.
So,
So should
Uh,
we as a board require that a surveyed plot plan be submitted?
let's wait and see what they have. Does that seem all
sorry.
right to you?
Let's wait and see what they already have. Okay.
Yeah, what they
Okay.
already have
Yep.
might be adequate for our
Sure.
purposes.
I think
Like
it
it.
will be.
Yep.
Okay, so that
sense.
is sort of the next thing. And if we could have that before our next meeting so that we can talk about it again, then that would be really good. Our next meeting would be in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So what is the date of the next meeting?
2 weeks from today, so it'd be the 21st. Now, I understand that you might have religious obligations and
No,
so,
they don't start, no, this has got to be dealt with. So it's, okay, and do you want me to send this to, I actually, the way I got the Zoom was in your communication with Devora and Linda. But
right. Right, but you were included in that.
I never got it.
Well, but you finally did because I saw your email. So anyway, if you would
Whatever
s-
that is, I can give that email to the person who needs to send you the plot.
yes, the Board of Health email.
Okay,
Email from boardhealth@shutesbury.org.
BOH@shutesbury.org.
Board
No,
Health
it's
at
board health.
shutesbury.org.
Board of Health at Shutesbury.org.
No, Board Health at
Leave out the word
shutesbury.org.
of.
Board Health,
Yeah, we didn't make this up, believe me.
no problem, at Shutesbury.org.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay, so that'll be our first thing, and we will start doing some more research at this end.
Oh, this is Noreen. I have one question. Do we need to take any action or think about what should be done should there be the need for another burial in the near future?
can I just get, Noreen, now that I understand better, and as I said, I'm gonna go look at what's I'm gonna find the blue, whatever it is, tomorrow. So if the blue is closest to 33, then what I'm gonna say is whatever, if there's another burial, then it needs to be like at 11, 12, 13, the furthest away from it. That's what I would, That's what I would say is how to try to deal with this now until we figure this out.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's one option, Sam. The other one might be, and I don't know if this makes any sense to, and if it causes any distress to the community, would be to try and limit burials for the time being to conventional burials.
There are no places, Noreen. That's
Okay,
that's why this whole thing has been developed.
okay.
Uh,
Well, thank you, Sam, for your understanding.
Thanks for your time as
oh,
well, everybody.
I'm very upset. I I
Yeah.
had no idea what was going on, and so this is good. It's got to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And I think it would also be important for us to, whilst Samuel's doing the work that he's doing, for the board to be in touch with DEP about what is a reasonable process for coming up with guidance and approval for green burial at this location.
Garrett, would you be willing to take that on?
Yes.
That would be great. Okay, I think we've probably done as much as we can do for now. Is there anything more to be said?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Thank you all for coming in, and you'll be hearing from us pretty soon.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Have a nice
Thank
night.
you.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Oh, boy.
Mm.
All right, so I'll work on the DEP side of things and see what I can come up with.
Okay, and I will, I'll be watching for the map, and I'll see what I can find out about other wells in the area.
Yeah, I'm happy to help you with that. If we can plot, once we have an accurate plot plan to just measure the distance to other wells and to find the wellhead at the school.
Yeah, somebody, I'm sure, well, DEP seems to know where it is. Lisa was talking about 2 wells, but I don't think there are 2 wells in use. I think there's an old shallow well that's not any longer in use. And the public water supply well obviously is a drilled well, and that's the one we need to find.
Got it.
Kat,
Um,
go ahead. One.
No, it's okay.
Kat, can you connect me with the Elliots so I can find out who they spoke with at DEP?
I asked Lisa that, and she told me she thought it was somebody named Richard Friend, but I couldn't find anybody by that name. However, I do have a name of somebody at DEP, and I'm going to look for it. I'm going to look for it now. Go
It's
ahead.
Lisa and Chris. Was that his name?
Yeah, Chris Elliott and Linda Crizale. And I will give
sorry.
you, I'll give you her email. I don't think I have his. What on earth is going on here? Well, in any case, I have the name of somebody named Kelly, I think, something Kelly, who has been suggested as somebody that we could talk to. Now, I've sent him a long email with, circles and arrows and a diagram on the back of everything, but he has not answered me, nor has Donna McNichol, Town Council. So good luck with that, because it's been really hard to get anybody to respond. I think people think it's somebody else, No, that's not us, that's them. But I will send you this person's contact information once I'm
Okay, great.
back straight on here.
Kat, if Samuel does get back to you right away, or whoever he hands this off to at JCA, can you get the name of their purported expert who advised them on this?
Well, their expert was somebody from Conway School of Landscape Design.
They said there was someone else.
Oh, no, he
so-
did say, okay,
On
yeah, I'll
Green
try to
Burial.
find out who their expert was. And he seems to think that their plan is going to be grandfathered because it was conceived possibly
Well,
before.
I
rules, but
mean,
that's
no.
not the case.
no, that is not the case. I doubt they're going to make him exhume anyone, but going forward, there are regulations. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And if their
um,
current property cannot be in compliance with the DEP regulations, no matter what came first, then they won't be able to continue to perform green burials in that,
Right.
in that property. I can't imagine, unless, Garrett, you were to find that there is some other recourse that DEP has
Yeah, I mean, I
insight.
think the fact that it's 100% green burial.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Is,
yeah,
is
Which
really
then
about-
brings it potentially into the 50+ burials.
yeah.
Yeah,
or
I think
more
that
per acre.
they,
Yeah,
what they
50+
have
burials
projected
per acre.
now is either at or approaching that limit because
Right.
that area is small.
And so at best, I would imagine DEP might take a look at this if they were to able to see a full plot plan and say, and if they know where abutters wells are, that they might be able to say, hey, the maximum number you can get in here is 4. Or, I mean, he already said they have 7 now. I mean, they might say,
Mhm.
okay, you know,
That's it.
10, something. So I
Yeah.
think a best case scenario is that this is very limited and can't ever reach the imagined plan, you know, the plan that they have on paper. But we'll see what
Well,
DEP says about
yeah.
that. It's a shame,
Right.
but
Well, yeah,
it is a shame, especially if they pre-sold them. So,
sure. Right. Right.
Of course, in that that front space that isn't shown on the plan, you said they were projecting burials there, and it would be easy to have conventional burials there. It would be just like the lawn burial area.
Right.
Have you all been there and you have it in your mind, or?
I've driven by it, but I have never
I've-
been in.
yeah, I've never been in.
It's pretty nice. There's a circular driveway with a lawn inside it. There's a big, beautiful linden tree. And of course, there's the gate, the famous gate from
Right.
somewhere in Europe. And then off to the right, there's this grassy area, which is where the conventional burials are. And if the whole site is 2 acres, I'm thinking that grassy area might be a ½ acre. And that the front area, I'm not good at this. Is anybody really good at that? Like looking at land and seeing what an acre is? Because I'm terrible at it.
No, and
think about
besides,
a
even if we
football
thought we were good at it, we really need a plot plan
Yeah.
that,
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Based on
I'm
the
just
surveyor,
speculating, and there's no point in that.
And for me, growing up in Wyoming, where you think about spaces like this
Like whole sections, yeah, right.
right?
versus that in New England.
Right. Well, the plot itself you saw is nice and almost square, but inside it, it's complex.
Right. Wow, this is all complex.
Yeah, no
Especially
kidding.
Especially since they were evidently, their cemetery commission is evidently unaware of the regulation. They're unaware of where abutters wells are. And it sounds like there's huge controversy about where the property line is, even on the sketch that they do have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
nothing's
was not at all
reliable.
convinced
Yeah,
about that.
I'm not convinced at all, and I think we really need to get validation of
Absolutely.
what's going on. here.
Absolutely, yeah, and just from looking at that sketch, it looks to me like the property that I saw. It didn't look to me like there was any more than that. But we'll find out.
Yeah,
All right.
Okay,
all right.
are we done?
Yes,
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I'm pretty well finished off.
yeah.
It was very
too.
interesting and a distraction from COVID, and
Sure.
Yeah, there was that.
Yeah.
Okay, if we don't have anything more to say, and I did have something more to say, but I've forgotten what it was, so it's gone forever, probably.
Okay.
Let us adjourn.
move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Good night.
Well,
Thank you.
Good
enjoy
night,
your time on the
everyone.
Cape.
Hey, thanks,
Noreen.
you guys. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye.